Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a little bit of a parts, kind of what's going on. So if you guys aren't into the nitty gritty kind of stuff, you probably won't like this video. My apologies, but we finally got everything moved in the shop. Got the 05 in here. Just kind of slowly working on stuff. Realistically, we're just waiting on a lot of parts, but we do have a good majority of them here. And I kind of want to show you guys what we got going on. So here's the 05. Still haven't done daily squat with it really, other than clean it, get it moved in. We gotta start taking it apart. We got the 4-link. So that's the first part of the plan. We got the Fire Punk 4-link kit for the rear. And then Cody's gonna go ahead and get us set up with some Mensker shocks. The crown jewel at this point. This is from Windberg Cranks in Colorado. A Billet 6.7 crankshaft. This thing is massive, it's heavy, it's all wrapped up so it doesn't get rusty, but you guys get the drill. This should be one bad boy right there. I'm pretty excited for that. So what is going on? Two things. Number one, Drew said that our Enforcer engine should be getting repaired and be done here pretty shortly. Assuming this stuff here doesn't get put to use right away, we'll go ahead and we'll stab the Enforcer in the 05. Realistically, when we bought it from Drew, there are power limits to his Enforcer. He really, I can't remember, it was like 2,500 horsepower. That was kind of all that he recommended. Obviously, we did hurt it. Obviously, it wasn't his fault. We've already covered that, but it is going to be repaired. So one of two things is going to happen. Number one, we'll stick it in the 05 because the other stuff won't be done, and we'll finish out the season with the 05 with the Enforcer. Option two, our other stuff shows up and we put Drew's engine in the 07 and keep chasing power on that. We're kind of capped with the factory block, flange sleeves, cast pistons, you name it. There's a limitation there. Who knows? We might try to turn it up and really give it the business, but I just don't see the point as of right now. So that's where we sit with our two deck plate engines. The other one is a Waggler kit on a Hamilton comp wet block, which some of you guys saw on my Instagram. So the plan is to go a 4 1/8 bore Hamilton comp wet block deck plate. And we have Steve Burton is the one doing it for us. New Performance Auto. For those of you guys that didn't watch the UCC video, Steve Burton is the gentleman that let us borrow David Petrick's spare engine. I didn't owe Steve anything, but he was willing to take the project on, so it's coming back to us with a Waggler deck plate kit. Basically, Steve is installing the deck plate, he's installing the sleeves, machining the block, and then he's also going to install one of his New Performance Auto girdles in it with 14 mil studs. So when it gets here, we're going to put all these cool parts that I keep drilling over. And I want to show you guys what we got going on. I'm going to get you set up on the shelf, kind of go through it, maybe get you guys some close-ups, stuff like that. But that is where we're currently at on all the different truck projects. The new 21, just got dropped off for ceramic coat, like I do with most of my new stuff. And yeah, without further ado, let me show you guys what we got going on here. So we just covered our Hamilton comp wet block. You guys have seen me work on those before. Whatever Steve doesn't do, I will show you guys. If it's available and Steve did do it, I will show you guys obviously when that comes up. But let's get into what we're putting in there. For starters, we got our Billet Windberg 6.7 crank. I am really excited. I have yet to talk to anybody that's really ever used one, so it's kind of cool to, I don't know, I guess have something nobody else has. I don't know, but the whole thought process behind it is in a lot of higher horsepower applications, they add weight to the crank. That's something that Windberg does. I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it's like 15 pounds extra crankshaft weight. And then obviously our guys over at Fluid Damper hooked it up. We got one of their 6.7 common rail dampers and then one of their max power kits. This has that diamond encrusted washer, ARP bolts. Going on that, we have a set of the Waggler deck plate rods. Some of you guys may recognize these. These are actually a carryover from the original Hamilton Comp wet block. Go ahead, put these back to good use. In the past, we've always had good luck with Waggler rods. The Todd's UCC engine, a few of my engines. It's amazing how much stuff these things can hit and still be okay. We got a set of Molly HX mains, Molly HX rods. I might get V's, but for right now, this is all I could get my hands on, so that's what we currently have. We have a set of ARP main studs with a new Performance Auto girdle holding all this into the block. Attached to it, we have some diamond pistons. These things are pretty sweet. This is my first set of diamond pistons ever. We went ahead and got some button tops. So instead of spiral locks or clips, these actually sit inside the wrist pin and basically the cylinder bore they can run on, and it allows them not to fall out. And it also allows where the clip can't come out. And the pin cock, we have a set of 6/7 ISB bowl design 4 1/8 bore pistons. These are the best pistons that I could get from Diamond. They already have valve reliefs in them for our camshaft selection. They are really beautiful. Gonna be a shame to put half these parts in there. And with Diamond, we got a set of Total Seal rings. Same rings that a lot of companies use in their engine builds. These are kind of the, I don't want to say end all be all. And then lastly, we do have a set of Trends. I believe these are the H13 DLC coated wrist pins. We've used these before in other builds, never had a problem with them, except when the piston comes flying out of the board. But not really the wrist pin's fault there. Moving on, you guys saw the video of the industrial injection race head. That was provided to us by Industrial / Precision Diesel Machine. Dustin and Tyler hooked us up there. You guys kind of already saw it, but here's that Armor Inc. Beautiful, beautiful Armor Inc. billet shelf that Donovan provided us. Some of the other things we got, man, so much stuff. You gotta make sure it goes back in the right box. We have a set of OptiTorque 14 mil deck plate head studs. We have a set of power driven diesel deck plate push rods. They are 1 inch longer, because remember, with a Waggler deck plate, or really any deck plate that I've been around, basically what you're doing is the top of the factory block, you're adding a 1 inch piece of steel and then putting sleeves through that. So everything in the rotating assembly kind of is 1 inch longer. So your rods are 1 inch longer, your head studs are 1 inch longer, your push rods are 1 inch longer. And that should be about it, I believe. Some of the brackets and stuff changed, especially like the alternator bracket, but we've already kind of covered that. So we got the OptiTorque head studs. In addition, for our power goals, we have a industrial injection triple CP3 kit. So they provide the bracket, the pulleys, a little bit of mounting hardware. You are on your own for all the fuel lines and stuff. But at this power level, I mean, you're gonna have to do some stuff yourself. And we're gonna have 2 DDP 12 millimeter CP3s and 1 Exergy Race 14 millimeter CP3. The reason for that is that's kind of what we had. CP3 kit actually wasn't that bad, and plumbing it shouldn't be too rough, especially because we were already dual feeding our rail with that fleece kit. The way it'll work, one injection line will go into that would probably go into the rail, and then the 2 12 mils will probably share a feed into the rail, or we'll bust out that Billet Exergy rail and use the triple feed feature of that. Not too sure yet. We'll kind of play that by ear. For the turbo system, we're gonna go to a single turbo. Reason for that being the horsepower that we are trying to achieve. We're trying to limit torque as best as we can. So we have that old HX82 from Dynamite Diesel, the one that Lenny sold me for UCC. This is going to be mounted straight to our stainless diesel T6 with two 45mm Turbo Smart gates, and we're gonna have a ton of nitrous. The other thing that we did get is a used water to air intercooler tank, pumps, and intercooler itself from Donovan Harris. He is the owner of Armor Inc. We have their shelf, we have some of their used parts, we use their engine mounts. They're a great group of guys and gals up there in Canada. Obviously, you guys already know, we will have a set of DDP injectors. I don't even know how big they're gonna be at this point. I just know that Lenny knows what we're trying to do, Skyler, Matt, Chris Krebs, all those guys know what we are shooting for. And now I'm gonna level with you guys. We don't have a lot of drag racing out here. We don't have a lot of sled pulling, and the sled pulling I did in Montana already reminded me of how much drama there is in sled pulling. So what do we do here? We dyno. I'll see it on Facebook, everywhere else. People wanna argue with numbers and stuff like that. I don't really care. At the end of the day, those guys at ATS worked really hard for the numbers that they got. And I think that at the end of the day, we should really just say congratulations. And if you don't have anything nice to say, move on with your life. But anyway, Sean Baca got really close. I think he did 2,980 horsepower. We are going to try to be the first diesel truck to ever do 3,000 horsepower on a chassis dyno. I don't know if we'll get there, but that is the goal. So we're gonna have a lot of nitrous. We're gonna have a water to air intercooler so we can really help control those intake air temps. We're gonna have the best engine that I can afford. The reason why we're not gonna try it with the Enforcer is purely because I don't want Drew getting angry, us trying to make more power than he wants on that engine. I don't want a catastrophic explosion. There was enough drama surrounding the first engine where I melted it down. I just don't want to jeopardize that relationship. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that engine I just described to you guys and try it. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. After talking to some people that have tried, or people that mathematically think it might be possible, I think with us doing a comp wet block, which depending on who you ask, from what I've seen, the bed plate on the comp wet block is really strong. Both times we broke the cylinder walls out of it, the rod was sitting there hammering around. I never saw the bed plate fracture. So I think the bed plate in the comp wet block is really where that strength's at. Then coupling that with our Waggler deck plate kit, we're really gonna strengthen the top of that. And then by sleeving it, we're gonna alleviate what I think might be a weaker cylinder wall design. Now, I'm not here to bash Hamilton. It's just from my experience, the freaking cylinder wall seems to like to blow out on these things. I don't know, but sleeving it to 4 1/8 bore, we're gonna use all the good things of the comp wet block and add a deck plate kit to it. It should be one bad unit. And instead of using a block that has been stressed or previously made a bunch of 2,000 horsepower runs, we're gonna do it on a relatively fresher engine block. For those of you guys that are new or anything like that, every time we smack these big numbers on these engines, I don't want to say it's like a cat with 9 lives, but any engine builder at this level that I've talked to personally, it's not a matter of if they're going to blow up, it's really when, and catching it beforehand. They start to get stress fractures. They'll get stress fractures in the bed plate, in the deck portion of the block. Once those stress fractures get too big and the cylinder pressure hits them, they tend to explode. We're gonna be as safe as we possibly can. Right now, we're slated to go to a hub dyno to try it up in Idaho over at DDP's new dyno facility. Ultimately, we wanted to do it at DDP for 2 reasons. Number 1, we can get the tuner there very easy. Number 2, Lenny seems to think the fuel system is probably gonna need tweaking as we try to chase this record. So being close to their shop on their premises, it'll make swapping injectors, building what we need much, much easier. I'd be lying if I said I could do this all by myself. I have a lot of great sponsors. I have a company that I work for that's very interested in what we are doing at all times. Definitely, I don't want to say the race is on, but I do know Will and Todd have some tricks up their sleeve. I don't want to rush this project, but it would be cool to be the first truck in the country to hit that 3,000 number. I know Chris Patterson got really close at ATS. I know Justin Ziegler's gotten close. I know Derek Rose has gotten close, and I'm sure there's a few guys that I've never even heard of that have gotten close, but I want to be the first one that has that 3 on that dyno sheet in the country. Just kind of always been a goal, and I don't really know why. I guess we're kind of crazy, but that's kind of what we're doing. Our goal is to make 3,000 horsepower. These are the parts, these are the companies. Obviously Power Driven Diesel always helping out. Dynamite Diesel Products. We have Wagler, that's been with us for forever. Armor Inc. We'll have some Manton stuff in there. You guys saw the Manton roller rockers, Manton valve springs, Manton valve ridges on the cylinder head. Industrial Injection kind of jumped on board this year with the cylinder head. Tyler has always helped us out on turbochargers. We got their triple CP3 kit. Who else we got? Opti Torque kind of jumped on. Russ over there is a really awesome guy, and I think he makes a great product. Evan Booms over at Diamond got us set up with these pistons, spec'd them for us to the best of his abilities, and from what my conversation is with him, this is kind of the best there is out there currently, and I hope it works out. We tested exhaust manifolds, intake manifolds on the flow bench. The best combination we can come up with is this Armor Inc. side draft and the stainless diesel competition T6. That thing literally killed all the other exhaust manifolds. I thought that was really interesting. Being how small it was, Will and I both thought it might actually hurt flow a little bit, but the fact that it picked up flow is even better. What else we have? We'll be going back with the DDP modified rail. Fluid dampener has been there for a long time. Can't forget diesel performance converters. Air Dog, that situation hasn't changed. We still have 2 of their 200 gallon per hour pumps. I think that's enough lift pump, but we will always talk to CJ over there. That's who I normally deal with, and make sure everything is good in his eyes and maybe his boss's eyes or the engineers or whatever, to make sure that we have enough lift pump for that. And how could we forget Hot Shot Secret? I don't know why. I always forget to tag those guys too. I don't know why. They sent us a ton of oil. Unfortunately, we didn't really use much of it. I traded in my brand new truck before it even needed its first oil change, but I still have their 10W30. I'm gonna put that in the dually. I'm 100% positive we're gonna keep that truck for a while. We will do an oil change, and their Adrenaline 20W50, everything I saw, all the bearings in that Enforcer engine looked fantastic. So we're gonna have them, as well as running their fuel additive as well. I don't know what to say other than I'm gonna chase this dream. Some people are gonna hate it. At the end of the day, whatever. It's sad to see it, but it's kind of life at this point. So these are the parts we're using. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy the build series. I will be filming a ton of the engine building. That's kind of not why the content has slowed down, but the 05 really hasn't done anything because we've been waiting for either an Enforcer engine from Drew or waiting for our new block from Steve. But we're kind of down to just needing the block from Steve or needing the engine from Drew, and then we can get this puppy back up and running. I really personally don't care as far as timeline goes. I'd rather let them take their time, do a good job. That way we can get this thing back to fighting shape. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I am super excited for all these parts, all these companies, all the knowledge that I've gained in the short time that I've been trying to chase this goal. Not gonna lie, it might be an explosive disaster, but we are gonna be very safe about it. I always run 2 safety cables. I have since before King of the Street. Really, they changed the rules and made it mandatory, and that was right after I sent that piston out of that comp wet block. And I'm all about it. We'll have the fire extinguisher, fire suit, everything we can to be as safe as possible while we chase this record. I really hope we get there, but if we fail along the way, such is life. We'll pick ourselves up and get back to it. Make sure you guys like this video, drop a comment down below, subscribe to keep up to date with the 05 and what we're gonna try and do with the 07, and some reviews on the 21. I promise you guys the 21 this time, we had so much other stuff going on. I really kind of dropped the ball on that one. We will do a lot more videos on the newer truck as well, especially with the 05 still being down. Kind of get you guys some dyno numbers, some driving numbers, some towing numbers, stuff like that. So if you guys are curious what the new trucks are like, or my opinion on a single rear wheel versus a dually, we'll get you there. As always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.